I've read what this sort of pact is supposed to ask countries to do, but it all seems a bit vague. You know, we've got people from Belgium saying, well, we've signed up to it, but we're not really sure it's right. We've got Hungarians saying we don't want any refugees at all. Poland saying we're not really going to buy into this. We've already got figures that suggest that we don't deport anyone anymore, even once they've been refused asylum. So exactly how is this going to change anything, if it is?
Well, it's a bit of a mix at the moment, and you're right, there is a sort of disagreement between the states themselves. However, the broad consensus is that, okay, 380,000 people illegally crossed into the EU last year, and something has to be done about it. And elections are coming up. And as we know, election is a time of promises, is a time when people fear for the change of loss of their seats and a change of government. And therefore, to hold on to power, people have to really try and deliver, or promise at least to deliver, what the public wants. And if this is what the public wants, to stop illegal migration, then this is what they're going to have to agree on. I mean, what the details are a bit sketchy. They're saying, well, hold on, we're going to process all the claims within 12 weeks. And if they're rejected, within another 12 weeks, we're going to send people back. How exactly they're going to do this, in what numbers they're going to do this, what mechanism they have, is all something that's going to be in the detail. But right, the general consensus is it has been passed.
Yes, it has. And it doesn't really explain where all of these people will in fact be processed. Rupert, you've been in the European Parliament, so you know how it works. I mean, what do you make of this particular sort of what I would regard as a bit of a botched job, really?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, Mike. I mean, when I was in the European Parliament, they were constantly banging on about this. It's not new. As Harjap says, I mean, this is a response to the fact that the right-wing parties in Europe are beginning to gain substantial ground. And I think the sort of post-war elite who, as you know, have basically embraced open borders, multiculturalism and everything that's showing signs of failing badly. As you quite rightly say, Hungary is not going to play ball with this. I suspect several other members of the 27 won't either. And they haven't got the structure, in my opinion, to deal with any form of tightening of the security of their borders. So I mean, words are easy, but I always say, as you know, watch what the hands are doing, not what the mouth is saying. And as usual in Europe, the mouth says a lot, but the hands do very little.
Well, quite. And Harjap, I mean, one of the, I suppose, warning sort of signs for this particular act is that it talks about, you know, countries taking responsibility for asylum seekers, meaning presumably that the EU will attempt to distribute people across various different countries. Now, presuming that we're not now part of the EU, Britain wouldn't necessarily sign up to that, or it might do, but they're saying they're trying to protect the frontline countries like Spain, Greece and Italy, who do bear the brunt of sort of a lot of this migration initially from the North African coast. What do you see inside of this distribution sort of scenario that it would mean for Britain?
I think for Britain's at the moment is fairly safe because we're not part of the EU anymore. We're not part of its pact anymore. However, like we said, I mean, like Rupert said, will countries like Romania, Hungary, Poland, essentially the ascension countries, as we call them, accept it? Because it's notorious there, you know, that asylum seekers aren't that welcome. There are riots and clashes between, you know, the population, the residents there, and asylum seekers. And therefore, is this distribution going to work? Well, the alternative is given in the pact that if you don't want to take on any migrants, then you're going to have to cough up a bit more and help the countries economically that do, almost like a fine, in effect, right, saying, well, hold, you can, if you don't want any, then this is the X amount you can do. You can waive off your amount that you're supposed to take on. However, if these countries, or will they be able to pay? What effects will it have on their economy? I think for Britain, it can only be a good thing for Britain if Europe are trying to stop illegal migrants coming into Europe and hence the trickle down into Britain from a point of view of not letting people in small boat crossings. However, Britain's problem is removal. Like you said, the removal of migrants. That has not been happening. Under this government, the removal spiral chart is downward spiral. It's, you know, we've gone from 11,000, 10,000 enforced removals. Enforced removals are those when we force people to go back after their claims have been rejected, from 2010 to almost 2 years ago, less than 2,000. So removals is a huge, huge problem for the UK. And until we get a grip on that, we're not going to see a lot of figures go down. Our problem is a lot of people who do get rejected and then just go underground and stay in the system, or are allowed to apply again.
Well, that is exactly the problem. And Rupert, let me come on to you with that, because we've got a new report out today which says that 2/3 of applicants who were refused asylum in this country were not recorded as having left the UK in the decade from 2011. So basically, over the last sort of 13 years, even if you are refused asylum, even if you refused it more than once, you don't end up leaving the country. Because if you do finally get granted asylum, you stay, and if you don't, you just disappear into the sort of the dark corners of wherever.
Well, Mike, we've been over this before on a number of occasions
certainly have.
together, and the country hasn't got the will to deal with this. We've got a woke judiciary that basically defeats the government at every possible juncture they can. They're completely out of touch with the will of the British people. And as we know, in my constituency in the West Midlands, when I was an MEP, there were hotels being taken over, the structure of society was being damaged. The cost to the taxpayer is massive. I think there was a report today saying it's cost 4.3 billion in 2023 to deal with this illegal immigration issue. Well, we then hear Rachel Reeves banging on about how she's going to fleece productive Britain and the tax evaders. As you quite rightly said earlier, they do nothing to the people who are porking the system for benefits and everything else. It's productive England and Britain that they want to attack. And they send HMRC into action to resile on EIS approvals they've given, to damage AIM VCT funds, and do all the things that they do to basically destroy enterprise in the country. So, you know, it's no coincidence 4.3 billion plays the 5 billion that Rachel Reeves has been claiming Middle England isn't paying in tax. So look, I mean, Middle England's very patient, Mike, but I think when you see the Reform Party going up in the polls, which is almost unheard of in the way that it is, you know, the government, the elite, the establishment, they didn't deliver Brexit despite the fact that people were given a vote on it. They're not delivering a control of our borders, even though we've left the EC. And, you know, that was the right decision for the country, in my opinion. The problem is we haven't got the apparatus. After 44 years in the European Union, our establishment has become flabby, it's become wet, and it's just not fit for purpose. And I think everybody can now see that. So I watch with horror as a sovereign nation with effectively a sea surrounding it finds it impossible to manage its own borders. And indeed, we watch the French fleeces for $500 million and do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Rupert, thanks very much indeed. Rupert Lowe, the prospective parliamentary candidate. Harjap, Singh, Bhangal, we're out of time, I'm afraid, but thanks very much to both of you.